God bless you guys. God have mercy. Alright, so we're going to read in Mark's chapter 8, verse 14 to 21. The word is read of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The word goes, "But the disciples had forgotten to bring any food. They had only one loaf of bread with them in the boat. As they were crossing the lake, Jesus warned them, 'Watch out, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and of Herod.' At this they began to argue with each other because they hadn't brought any bread. Jesus knew what they were saying, so he said, 'Why are you arguing? Why are you arguing about having no bread? Do you know or understand even yet? Are your hearts too hard to take it in? You have eyes, but yet you can't see. You have ears, but yet you can't hear. Don't you remember anything at all? When I fed 5,000 with 5 loaves of bread, how many baskets of leftovers did you pick up afterwards?' 12, they said. 'And when I fed 4,000 with 7 loaves, how many large baskets of leftovers did you pick up?' 7, they said. 'Don't you understand yet?' He asked them. The title of my message is, Won't You Do It?
Yes, he will.
Alright, so to give you a little bit of background on what's going on. So first of all, you need to know that Jesus was in the region of it's a hard name to pronounce, but it's Dalmanutha, whatever. Dalmanutha, right? So he was in this region before they were in the boat. They were in this region, and he was teaching, but then some Pharisees came to test him. And to be honest, these Pharisees were getting on Jesus' last nerves, right? Because he sized deeply because they wanted a sign from heaven. Like if Jesus isn't out here giving out signs, like he's not here, like he's not here healing the sick, giving sight to the blind. Like, a lady touches Jesus' robe, and he's like, and she receives instant healing. But yet they want a sign from heaven. Even I'm like, come on, like you are so stubborn, and now you still want a sign from me? Like, no, this generation will not get a sign from heaven. As you can see, my leg is shaking. Hopefully that stops. All right. He's like, no, you're not going to receive a sign from this generation will not receive a sign from the heavens. Like, I've been doing all these signs, right? So he's like, he tells his 12 disciples, let's bounce. We're out of this region. Let's go to the other side of the lake, right? So they go on this boat. They're already leave land. They're like in water. They're sailing across. And then this is where Peter's like, hold up. John, did you pack anything? I'm not in charge of packing nothing. Then talk to Thomas. Yo, come on, so you pack anything? I ain't packed nothing. It was supposed to be Bartholomew. Bartholomew, man, come on, do something. Pack something. No, I ain't packed nothing. Ask Judah. I'm in charge of the money. Don't tell me I'm packing nothing. I got the money here. Y'all got in charge of the bread, all right? So nobody has this bread. So now they're freaking out. They're like, man, we have no food for this journey, right? So then amongst this and they're freaking out, then Jesus says, beware. Beware of the yeast of the Pharisees, right? And of Herod. And then the disciples are like, so technically when God says this, even I was like, what is he saying? Jesus says something. What is Jesus saying? What is he saying? Like, this makes no sense. We out here talking about the bread, and we don't got nothing. And Jesus is out here talking about the yeast of the Pharisees. Like, what does this even mean? But the yeast of the Pharisees, what it means is the corruption that the Pharisees had. The corruption in Herod, right? And he's warning them, don't be like the Pharisees, right? Don't have the same mentality. Don't be as stubborn, right? But, when he tells this to the disciples, he's like, don't beware of the yeast of the Pharisees. That just goes over their heads. They're like, what they're thinking is, who told Jesus that they had the bread? Like, I was going to tell him. I didn't have to. Oh my. Now he knows we got the bread. Now he knows we messed up, right? But that's the problem. That's the problem. The problem is that sometimes we have certain situations and problems that come up in our lives. Come on. We have these problems that come up in our lives, and sometimes it consumes our every thought, right? Jesus is out here trying to teach them, because this is what Jesus has, like certain time. He has a certain amount of time left, and he's trying to teach them as much as he can. But they're not even listening because they're so consumed by right? They're consumed by it. And sometimes, sometimes in our life, like, we have these problems that we even lose sleep over. Right? We lose sleep over it, just thinking about it. What are we going to do with this? The bill it needs to be paid. The mortgage needs to be paid. These kids are acting up. Like you have these problems in your mind, and you're like, what am I going to do? Right? And this is what the disciples are doing. And then Jesus sees this. Right? Jesus sees this, and then he's like, right? So then they start arguing amongst themselves, right? They start bickering. Like, no, it's your fault. They're trying to find who's to blame. Who to blame, right? It was his fault. It was your fault. It was his fault. And Jesus goes, which is funny enough, Jesus says, Jesus knew what they were saying. And so he said, why are you arguing about not having bread? In other words, the way I see it is, forget about the bread! Forget about it! It doesn't matter! Why are you arguing about bread? And what he does is he tells them, come on, if you have eyes, come on, see, if you have ears, hear. You have been with me. Right? You have been with me all this time. Come on, check back. Not even a while ago. Literally Mark 8. Like, I'm trying to check this out. Not even a while ago. I just spent 4,000. How many did we have? We had like what? 7 loaves? Man, 1 loaf. You got 1 loaf. I can multiply that. This whole boat's gonna sink. I can multiply that. Come on. So he's like, remember. So whenever we're amongst our problems and our situations, try to remember that God is there.
Yeah.
Remember. Alright? Remember what God is taking you out of, because I know that when another problem arises, like another one. Right? Another one. Just know that when these problems arise, I know sometimes it seems harder than another one, and it doesn't stop, and it's just a vicious cycle. But just remember what God is taking you out of. Remember that God is always there. Whatever problem, whatever situation you're in, God is greater than that. Yes. Alright? So remember. That's what God is telling them. Because sometimes it's so easy, right? When there's no problem, there's no situation going on. Oh God, you're so good. You're my provider. You're amazing. Oh, you take care of me. But when the situation comes, we forget. We quick to forget. Real quick. But sometimes what we need to do is step back. When the problem is consuming us, we need to take a step back. And we need to assess what we have in this boat. Take access and take inventory of what we got in this boat. Alright? So it's easy. Alright, it's easy. Let's check out what the problem is. Because we can always identify the problem. Alright, we got 12 people who are irresponsible. We got that. We got 1 loaf of bread. This is not enough. Alright? What else we got? Well, what else we got? What else we got? We got some rope. Okay, that's useless. We got some nets, but we like our fish cooked, so what's the point of catching fish? And we can't make a fire in the boat. What else we got? Come on. The most important thing they got in this boat. They got Jesus. If you got Jesus in your boat, that's all that matters. Man, when you don't got nothing, when you don't have nothing at all, if you have at least you have Jesus in your boat, that's all that matters. Alright? That's all that matters because Jesus is our provider. Alright? So when the problems come, because I know it's going to come, we all know it, just know that if you have Jesus in your boat, He got your back. Alright? He's going to take you out of this like He took you out of every single one. And if you forget, sometimes you get overwhelmed, just remember what He's done for you. And if you go, well, He hasn't done nothing for me because I'm brand new to this, then just go to the Bible because He's done a lot of things for people who have been faithful to Him. And I'll teach you to be faithful. Alright? He's been, what did He do for Moses? Oh, I can't talk. You want me to do this? Like, man, I created tongue. I created the tongue. I created for you to speak. Do it. What did He do for Mary Magdalene? What did He do for Mary? What did He do? He picked her up and saved her. What did He do for the adultery? He did a whole bunch of. Just go back to the Bible and see. Alright? Let me end before you look at me. Alright.